spiritual master if he has sufficient knowledge of the science of Krishna consciousness. Becoming such a spiritual master does not depend on a particular position in society or on birth. This is the conclusion of Lord Chaitanya, previously known as Vishwambara, accepted as spiritual sorry. This is the conclusion of Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, and it is in accordance with the Vedic injunctions. On the strength of this conclusion, Lord Chaitanya, previously known as Vishwambara, accepted a spiritual master, Ishwar Puri, who was a sannyasi. Similarly, Lord Nityanand Prabhu and Sri Advaitacharya also accepted a sannyasi as their spiritual master, namely Madhvendra Puri, who was a disciple of Lakshmipati Tirtha. Similarly, another great Acharya, Sri Rasikananda, accepted Sri Shyamananda as a spiritual master. Although Shyamananda was not born in a Brahmin family, so also did Ganga Narayan Chakravarti accepted Narottam Das Thakur as a spiritual master. In ancient days, there was even a hunter named Dharma who became a spiritual master for many people. There are clear instructions in the Mahabharata and the Srimad Bhagavatam 7:11-32 stating that a person should be accepted as a Brahman, Kshatriya, Vaishya, or Shudra according to his personal qualifications and not his birth. Not by his birth. For example, if a man is born in a Brahmin family, but his personal qualifications are those of a Shudra, he should be accepted as a Shudra. Similarly, if a person is born in a Shudra family, but has the qualifications of a Brahman, he should be accepted as a Brahman. All Shastric injunctions, as well as the versions of great sages and authorities, establish that a bona fide spiritual master is not necessarily a Brahman by caste. The only qualification is that he be conversant with the science of Krishna consciousness. That alone makes one perfectly eligible to become a spiritual master. This is the conclusion of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu in his discussions with Ramananda Rai.
Can you pause there for a minute?
Okay.
See, in this material world, people speak a lot of lofty ideological concepts. But when it comes to practice, they don't practice what they speak about. So there are many such concepts in this material world which people speak about. But when it comes to practice, you'll find a lot of disparity. They don't actually practice what they are speaking about. However, Srila Prabhupada ensured that in the International Society for Krishna Consciousness, we actually do not discriminate. So he set a very sterling example of that. Nevertheless, since we are conditioned according to our material situations, if we are not properly engaged in Krishna consciousness, then we may exhibit a tendency to behave in a manner that does not befit a Krishna conscious person. So we have to be careful that we have to always be guided by the teachings of Srila Prabhupada constantly, moment to moment, day after day, month after month, year after year, that we should take shelter of the teachings of Srila Prabhupada. So we remain firmly fixed on the platform of the signs of Krishna consciousness. During Srila Prabhupada's time, once Bhakti Tirtha Swami wrote a letter to Srila Prabhupada that since I am black-bodied, there is some discrimination that is being exhibited against me. And Prabhupada replied, why do you consider yourself as black and get affected by these things? Then he basically was saying that those who are doing that are not properly situated. But why are you also not properly situated? Why do you have to think that you are black? You know. Anyway, that's an instructive lesson for us, that sometimes we may get affected by the behavior of others. So we should remember this point, that if others are not behaving in a befitting manner in Krishna consciousness, we should not get affected by that. We should firmly be situated in the proper platform of Krishna consciousness. I'm sure that whatever I spoke now, as my teacher used to say, uh, I have thrown some light on the topic, and you can now generate some heat on the topic. Okay. So any thoughts or questions?
Prabhuji, this also is applicable equally for non-devotees, especially when you're living with them, they're non-devotees and they're not behaving in a proper manner. So, do we use the same philosophy?
It is all the more applicable to them, no? They will not, right? Because they don't have a proper conception. So they will always behave in ways that do not befit, do not reflect the reality of uh, Krishna consciousness, do not reflect the reality of life. The reality of life is that Krishna is Supreme Personality of Godhead. He has his various energies. We are his marginal energy. We are meant to render eternal loving service to the Lord. And the material world is temporary. It is a prison and is conducted by the three modes of material nature. So this is our philosophy. So when a person is not Krishna conscious, they will act, uh, they'll be conducted, their behaviors are conducted by the modes of material nature. It is not that they are not responsible. They are choosing to behave in those manners, you know. So, therefore, they're not behaving in tune with reality. The reality is they've got nothing to do with the three modes. But if they prefer to behave accordingly, then what can be done? That's what all the materialists do. They don't realize that they are eternal spirit souls, and they don't act in their constitutional position. So it's very much expected. 100% of the times, they'll always act in a manner that which is in accordance with their conditioning in the material world. So it'll always be tinged with the modes. So we should not care about how they behave. I mean, because they expect it from what it's expected that they would behave like that. But when devotees behave, then we get surprised. Why is this happening? Because they're supposed to know Krishna consciousness. They're supposed to know better. That's a fact. But I mean, not everybody may practice what they read or what they hear.
Yes. Yes, Rudy. Thank you.
Harish.
Prabhuji, I also have a question. Hare Krishna, Prabhuji.
Yes, Madhuri, I can hear you. Yeah.
Prabhuji, so how should it be dealt then if we experience any bias due to color of our skin or being a certain gender or these how people in general should we not get affected by it at all, or what if it's getting in the way of how we want to do things? I mean, in general, how are we supposed to deal with it? Should we not do anything, or we do without getting affected? What should be the approach?
Our focus should be on to carry out our duty, you know. So if it obstructs the carrying out of our duty, then we have to do something. But if we can tolerate something and go on with our duties, then we just can tolerate it and just ignore it. But sometimes goes beyond that. It actually interferes with your performance of duty. When it interferes with your performance of duty in Krishna consciousness, then you're supposed to do something about it.
Yes.
That is
Okay.
the point is performance of duty.
Mm.
You know, yeah. So sometimes, what happens is that okay, for example, I have been in situations where the people surrounding me have been negative. or discouraging, you know. But what can I do about it? It's not a favorable atmosphere, but nevertheless, I have to carry on my duty like that. So what other option do I have than to tolerate it? Because they are not directly interfering in my duty. They may be discouraging or they may be whatever they are doing. But I have to be focused on my duty. So then we have to just be tolerant and just go on with our duties. So we have to see everything on a case-to-case basis to generally say something. But the general principle is that we should be focused on carrying out our duty. Srila Prabhupada says that crossing, when you are crossing a river, the boat in which you are situated may have various kinds of people. Somebody may be a 5th class man, somebody may be a 10th class man, somebody may be all kinds of, I mean, you may have people from all walks of life and all varieties of people. Then Prabhupada said, what has got to do with your business? Your business is to simply sit tightly in the boat and cross the river. So as long as somebody is not trying to throw you off the boat into the river, so we should just, I mean, some people, there may be some loud chatter, and in Bengal, in the boat, when you travel, there are sometimes more hawkers than the passengers, you know. Of course, I mean, I'm just kidding. It's not exactly like that, but there are a lot of hawkers, all kinds of things happen. But as long as somebody is not throwing me off the boat, I just have to go on with my journey. That's the point. This is an example which
Won-
Prabhupada gave. This is an example which Prabhupada gave.
Wonderful example, Roji. I'll remember that. That visual will help now.
Okay.
And also the fact that directly and indirectly impacting my seva. So, yeah, that
Indirectly, we can't do anything about it.
correct.
See, when you say indirect, it simply means it's affecting my mind. And because it's affecting my mind, it's affecting my service. Correct?
Right.
Yeah. So for which that means if we are lacking, no? We have to be properly situated in our platform of consciousness, in our platform of Krishna consciousness. Because we are not properly situated, we are getting affected by our mind, you know. It is not
Right.
that you're going to the temple and somebody has put a gate in front of you and you cannot go and you don't have the strength to open the gate and go and do service. That's not what is happening here. I agree. I agree that mental obstacles are also real obstacles. I'm not saying they're not real obstacles. They are real obstacles. I agree with that. But we cannot train our bodies. Bodies are made of a certain mold. You can only get physically strong to a certain extent. You can't get unlimitedly strong. Somebody can always come and knock you off. There's no doubt in that. But I'm not saying you, anybody for that matter. So, but whereas mind is not like that. By becoming fixed in Krishna consciousness, the mind can become unlimitedly powerful. So that is something which you can always overcome. Physical strength and physical thing, nothing you can do about it. It has been given to you in a certain format. That's the end of it. Nothing can be done about it for one lifetime. But mind is not like that. Mind can be trained to become fully strong. So that is the difference.
Right, Roji. Understood. Thank you. Roji, your voice is coming a little less today. Uh, is
Okay.
it only for me or others are
No,
feeling
I
it
think
all?
it may be for others also.
No, it's all fine from my side.
She's sitting in a foreign country with a very good
No,
connection, I
it's
guess. And yeah, somebody else also, because I'm losing my laptop. Very difficult to this thing do it over a phone. And I think the laptop speakers, I'll try to speak a little bit more loudly if that helps.
No problem, Roji. सुनाई तो दे रहा है, just not so clear
Okay.
as a.
Okay. It's clear, right? Not just that's not loud enough, no? Or is it not clear
Yes.
also?
Yes, it's clear.
Okay.
Just the volume is a little less.
Okay.
Hare Krishna, Prabhu. Wonderful.
Hare Krishna, Navdeep Pranath Prabhu.
I also add one, I just remembered one pastime of Narada Muni. So typically this question comes up that, okay, so someone else is not behaving properly, and if I always be very tolerant and be gentlemanly, I get exploited. Like I end up getting exploited sometimes. So devotees ask that question. So this pastime was instructive for me. This Narad Muni pastime where he had a snake disciple, and the kids were throwing stones on it. So Narad Muni tells them, you don't need to bite them, but now and then you may need to show your fangs. So when it comes to a line being crossed, so I thought that pastime I remember. Is it a
Thank you.
correct understanding?
Yeah, thank you for bringing that up. It's true. Srila Prabhupada gave that story. He said, you can hiss, but don't bite. It's good. Thank you for bringing it up. Very good. Hiss, but don't bite. When needed. Yeah.
Thank you.
So I think we'll go ahead.
In the Hari Bhakti Vilas, it is stated that if one bona fide spiritual master is born in a Brahmin family and another qualified spiritual master is born in a Shudra family, one should accept the one who is born in a Brahmin family. This statement serves as a social compromise, but it has nothing to do with the spiritual understanding. This injunction is applicable only for those who consider social status more important than the spiritual status. It is not for people who are spiritually serious. A serious person would accept Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's instruction that anyone conversant with the science of Krishna must be accepted as a spiritual master regardless of his social position. There is an injunction in the Padma Puran which states that though a highly elevated, spiritually advanced devotee of the Lord may have been born in a family of dog eaters, he can be a spiritual master. But that a highly elevated person born in a Brahmin family cannot be a spiritual master unless he is a devotee of the Lord. A person born in a Brahmin family may be conversant with all the rituals of the Vedic scriptures, but if he is not a pure devotee, he cannot be a spiritual master. In all the Shastras, the chief qualification of a bona fide spiritual master is that he be conversant with the science of Krishna. Lord Chaitanya therefore requested Ramananda Rai to go on teaching him without hesitation, not considering Lord Chaitanya's position as a sannyasi. Thus, Lord Chaitanya urged him to continue speaking on the pastimes of Radha and Krishna. Because you are asking me to speak of the pastimes of Radha and Krishna, Ramananda Rai humbly submitted, I will obey your order. I will speak in whatever way you like. Thus, Ramananda Rai humbly submitted himself as a puppet before Lord Chaitanya.
Can
The
you just
puppet,
pause for a can you just pause for a
yeah,
minute?
sure.
Are we in the last paragraph? What are we actually? I mean, I have a feeling that I've been also reading, so I don't know if what is it?
This we've read this.
Where are we actually?
Yeah.
We are supposed to be in the last chapter. What is
Chapter,
the
I think chapter 32 is the last chapter. Rukmini Harisevani Mataji.
Mataji, I just check. I have a book in my hand.
Oh, you can check it from the index also, no?
Yeah, it's 31st chapter. 32 is the conclusion, Mataji. In the book.
So we didn't read this, I mean, recently. I mean, okay.
P1.
Last class was definitely not this. Okay, go ahead. Go ahead.
Last chapter is 32, Prabhuji, conclusion.
No, I'm just saying the last class we didn't read from here for sure. Yeah, it was. Yeah, I mean, it may have been a similar thing with an earlier chapter. That's all. Go ahead.
I will speak in whatever way you like. Thus, Ramananda Rai humbly submitted himself as a puppet before Lord Chaitanya.
Can you just see how long? Sorry, hold on. Maybe we completed this. Just can you just check how long is this chapter?
This is just the beginning, it seems.
Yeah.
I
Yes,
think
Mataji.
we finished this chapter last class.
Finish 31.
Yeah, we finished.
I remember we were in the last chapter and we read only few paragraphs in the
No, last chapter we didn't
class.
start. We didn't start the last chapter.
Two.
Yeah, conclusion. Okay.
So from here we will
Yeah,
start.
okay. Yeah.
But Prabhuji, I think we've read this chapter last time. No?
Oh, I remember few paragraphs. I think Radhakrishnan Mataji was only reading.
No, we have not finished it. We have
No,
not
no,
finished.
we haven't finished. We just took some paragraphs. I'm saying.
No, I don't think so.
Okay, no problem. Chapter 32, Conclusion. The next day, Sriman Ramananda Rai again came to see the Lord in the evening, and there were further discourses on transcendental subject matter. What is the highest standard of education? Lord Chaitanya began his inquiry, and Ramananda Rai immediately replied that the highest standard of education is knowledge of science of Krishna. The standard of material education is sense gratification, but the highest standard of spiritual education is knowledge of the science of Krishna. Srimad Bhagavatam 4:29-49 states that work which pleases the Supreme Personality of Godhead is the highest work, and that science or knowledge which places one in full Krishna consciousness is the highest knowledge. Similarly, Prahlad Maharaj, while instructing his childhood friends at school, stated that hearing of the Lord, chanting about Him, remembering Him, worshipping Him, praying to Him, serving Him, making friends with Him, and offering everything to Him constitute the highest spiritual knowledge. Then Lord Chaitanya asked Ramananda Rai, what is the greatest reputation one can have? Ramananda immediately replied that a person reputed to be a Krishna conscious should be considered the most famous man in the world. One who is famous as a Krishna conscious man has eternal fame. In the material world, everyone is striving for three things. He wants his name to be perpetuated, he wants his fame to be broadcast all over the world, and he wants some profit from his material activities. But no one knows that all this material name, fame, and profit belong to the temporary material body, and as soon as the body is finished, all name, fame, and profit are finished also. It is also only due to ignorance that everyone is striving after the name, fame, and profit connected with the body. But actually, it is deplorable to become famous on the basis of body or to become known as a man of spiritually developed consciousness without knowing the Supreme Spirit, Vishnu. Real fame belongs to one who attains Krishna consciousness in this very life. According to Srimad Bhagavatam 6.3, 20 and 21, there are 12 authorities and they all are famous because they were all great devotees of the Lord. These authorities are Brahma, Narad, Lord Shiva, Manu, Kapil, Prahlad, Janak, Bhishma, Shukadeva Goswami, Bali, Yamraj, and the Kumaras. These personalities are still remembered because they were all great stalwart devotees of the Lord. In the Garuda Puran, it is said that in the age of Kali, it is very rare to find a famous devotee of the Supreme Lord. A position better than that of such demigods as Brahma or Lord Shiva. Concerning talks between Narad and Pundarik, Yudhishthira said, he is most famous and can deliver all others who, after many, many births, comes to understand that he is a servant of Vasudeva. Similarly, in the Bhagavad Gita 7.19, Krishna tells Arjuna, Bahunam janmanam ante jnanvan mam prapadyate vasudevah sarvamiti sa mahatma sudurlabha. After many births and deaths, he who is actually in knowledge surrenders unto me, knowing me to be the cause of all causes and all that is. Such a great soul is very rare. In the Adi Puran, it is said that the liberation and transcendental life follows all the devotees of the Lord. In the Brihan Naradya Puran, it is stated that even personalities like Brahma and the other demigods do not know the value of a devotee of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. The Garud Puran points out that out of many thousands of Brahmanas, the one who is expert in performing sacrifices is famous. Out of thousands of such expert Brahmanas, the one who is expert in the knowledge of the Vedanta Sutra is more famous. And out of many more thousands of such Vedantists, the one who is a devotee of Lord Vishnu is the most famous. There are many devotees of Vishnu, and out of them, he who is unflinching in his devotion is the most famous and is eligible to enter into the kingdom of God. In Srimad Bhagavatam 3.13.4, it is also stated that there are many famous students of the Vedas, but that one who is always thinking of the Supreme Personality of Godhead within his heart is the best student of all. In the Narayan Vyuha Stava prayers, it is said that if the great Brahma is not a devotee of the Lord, he is the most insignificant. Whereas if a microbe is a devotee of the Lord, he is the most famous. Jai. Lord Chaitanya next asks Ramananda Rai, who possesses the most valuable thing in this world? Ramananda Rai replied that he who has love for Radha Krishna possesses the most valuable jewel and the greatest riches. One who is addicted to material sense gratification or material wealth is not really wealthy. When one comes to the spiritual platform of Krishna consciousness, he can understand that there are no riches more valuable than love of Radha and Krishna. It is recorded in Srimad Bhagavatam that Maharaj Dhruva sought out the Supreme Lord because he wanted to get some land. But that when he finally saw Lord Krishna, he said, I am so pleased, I do not want anything. In the Bhagavad Gita, it is also stated that if one takes shelter of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, or in other words, is elevated to the supreme state of love of Godhead, he has nothing more to aspire to. Although such devotees can attain whatever they desired from the Lord, they do not ask anything from him.
Okay, there is an important point here, which is that we may think that we are possessors of different things, we are masters of different things. We have this conception, but in reality, Prabhupada explains from the teachings of Bhagavad Gita and from the teachings of our scriptures that we are actually servants of different things. We are constantly servants of different things. So we servant of society, servant of family, servant of the senses. We're constantly being servants of so many things. We are constantly under slavery. You could say we are slaves of the senses, slaves of family, society. We're just slaves, slavery, you could say. But we come to the platform of reality. I mean, we come to the platform of freedom. Freedom begins with controlling the senses. Freedom begins with controlling the senses, because then you're no more a servant of the senses. You're controlling the senses and engaging the senses in the service of Krishna. You have to be a servant. The question is, whose servant are you going to be? So you can become a servant of the senses, or you can use your senses to become a servant of Krishna. So that is the point. So, and we similarly, we can either become servant of family, or we can use the family to become a servant of Krishna. Similarly, society, we can either become servants of society or use the society to become a servant of Krishna. Similarly, we can become servant of our job or use our job to become a servant of Krishna. No, so that is the difference. So we have to be conscious of this fact. If we have to be, we should give up being servants of different things. We should only be servants of Krishna. That's all. That's all. That is the most prestigious thing. That is the most valuable thing. I mean, eventually that platform leads to love of Krishna, love of Radha Krishna. So that is the highest platform. That is what is being explained here. That is the most valuable thing. It is not valuable to become this or that or all these things, as in the previous verse also. It is not very this thing to become prestigious or famous or acquire knowledge. First thing was about knowledge. What is the best form of knowledge? Krishna consciousness. So we are not interested in acquiring education. Similarly, the next topic that was discussed was fame. We are not interested in fame. Here, we are not interested in wealth, you know, na dhanam, na janam, na sundarim. So here wealth is being discussed. There dhanam was already, I mean, this is, sorry, here dhanam is being discussed, and janam, famous, you could say in one sense. Sundarim are also part of the followers. Anyway, I'm just saying that that's what we normally anchor for. But here, I mean, Ramananda Roy is clarifying what actually we should actually be hankering for. What should we actually be hankering for? Not all these different things. Okay, go on. Education. First, it talks about education. What's the right kind of education? Because education defines what you become. Education defines what you become. Either you get formal education, no education, but no formal education, but training at home. So many people are trained at home. Whatever it is. I mean, not today, but generally. So education defines what you become. Then the next thing was that you discussed about was famous. What do you want your education? What do you want to become in life? Generally everybody wants to become famous. That's just normal. So the most famous thing is to become servant of Krishna. Then what should one possess? That's what Lord Chaitanya is asking Ramananda Roy. What is the most valuable thing? Then he's going to ask what is the most painful. Okay, go on, Marj.
Lord Chaitanya next asks Ramananda Rai,
Mataji from here.
when Lord Chaitanya,
Yes.
when Lord Chaitanya asks Ramananda Rai, what is the most painful experience in human society? Ramananda Rai replied that separation from a pure devotee is the most painful experience. In other words, when there is no devotee of the Lord present, there is great suffering in the society, and association with other people becomes painful. In Srimad Bhagavatam 3:36 and 7, it is stated that if one who is bereft of the association of a pure devotee tries to become happy through society, friendship, and love devoid of Krishna consciousness, he is to be considered in the most distressed condition. In the Brihad Bhagavatamrita 1.554, it is stated that the association of a pure devotee is more desirable than life itself, and that in the separation from him, one cannot pass even a second happily. Lord Chaitanya then asks Ramananda Rai, out of many so-called liberated souls, who is actually liberated? Ramananda replied that one who is completely saturated with devotional love for Radha and Krishna is to be considered the best of all liberated persons. Similarly, it is stated in Srimad Bhagavatam 6.14.5 that a devotee of Narayan is so rare that only one can be found among millions and millions of liberated people. And out of all songs, what song do you think is the best? Chaitanya Mahaprabhu asks. Ramananda Rai replied that any song which describes the pastimes of Radha and Krishna is the best song. The conditioned soul is captivated by sex. All literary works of fiction, dramas, novels, and so on describe love between men and women. Since people are so attracted to this kind of literature, Krishna appeared in this material world and displayed his transcendental loving affairs with the gopis. There is an immense literature dealing with the loving exchanges between the gopis and Krishna, and anyone who takes shelter of this literature or of the stories about Radha and Krishna can enjoy actual happiness. In Srimad Bhagavatam 10:33-36, it is said that the Lord displayed his pastimes in Vrindavan in order to reveal his actual life. Any intelligent person who tries to understand the pastimes of Radha and Krishna is the most fortunate. The songs that tell of those pastimes are the greatest songs in the world. Lord Chaitanya then inquired, what is the most profitable thing in the world? The essence of all auspicious events. Ramananda Rai replied that there is nothing as profitable as the association of pure devotees. And what do you recommend a person should think of? Lord Chaitanya asks. Ramananda Rai replied that one should always think of the pastimes of Krishna. This is Krishna consciousness. Krishna has multiple activities and they are described in many Vedic scriptures. One should always think of those pastimes. That is the best meditation and the highest ecstasy. In Srimad Bhagavatam 2:36, Shukdev Goswami confirms that one should always think of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Indeed, one should not only think of him, but also hear and chant his name, fame, and glories. And what is the best type of meditation? Lord Chaitanya inquired. He who always meditates on the lotus feet of Radha and Krishna is the best meditator. Ramananda Rai answered. This is confirmed in Srimad Bhagavatam 1:14. It is the Supreme Personality of Godhead alone, He who is the master of all devotees, whose name one should always chant and one should always be meditated upon and worshipped regularly. Where should a person live, giving up all other places? Lord Chaitanya next inquired. Ramananda Rai replied, one should give up all other places and live in Vrindavan, where Lord Krishna had so many pastimes. In Srimad Bhagavatam 10:47-61, Uddhava says that it is the best to live in Vrindavan, even as a plant or creeper. It was in Vrindavan that the Supreme Lord lived, and it was there that the gopis worshipped him, the ultimate goal of all Vedic knowledge. And what is the best subject to hear of? Chaitanya Mahaprabhu next asks, the pastimes of Radha and Krishna. Ramananda replied, actually, when the pastimes of Radha and Krishna are heard from the right source, one at once attains liberation. Unfortunately, sometimes people are misguided because they do not hear these pastimes from a realized soul. It is stated in Srimad Bhagavatam 10:33-39 that one who hears the pastimes of Krishna with the gopis will attain the highest perfection of devotional service and be highest platform of devotional service and be freed from material lust, which overwhelms everyone's heart in the material world. In other words, the actual result of hearing the pastimes of Radha and Krishna is to get rid of all material lust. One who does not become freed from material lust in this way should not indulge in hearing of the pastimes of Radha and Krishna. Unless we hear from the right source, we will misinterpret the pastimes of Radha and Krishna and think that they are ordinary affairs between a man and a woman. In this way, we shall be misguided. Who is the most worshipable deity? Chaitanya Mahaprabhu next inquired. Ramananda Rai immediately replied that the transcendental couple, Sri Radha and Krishna, is the ultimate object of worship. There are many worshipable objects. For example, the impersonalists worship the Brahmajyoti, but by such worship one becomes bereft of life symptoms and becomes just like a tree or other non-moving living entity. Those who worship the so-called void also attain such results. Those who are after material enjoyment, bhukti, worship the demigods and achieve their planets or thus enjoy material happiness. Lord Chaitanya next inquired about those who are after material happiness and those who are after liberation from material bondage. Where do they ultimately go? He asked. Ramananda Rai replied that those who aspire for liberation ultimately turn into trees and that the others attain the heavenly planets where they enjoy material happiness. Ramananda Rai went to say that those who have no taste for Krishna consciousness or spiritual life are just like crows who take pleasure in eating the bitter nimber fruit. It is the poetic cuckoo that eats the buds of the mango tree. The unfortunate transcendentalist simply speculate on dry philosophy. Where is the transcendentalist who are in love with Radha and Krishna are just like cuckoos enjoying the buds of the mango tree of love of cottage. Thus, those who are the devotees of Radha and Krishna are the most fortunate. The bitter nimber fruit is not at all eatable. It is simply full of dry speculation and is fit only for crow like philosophers. Mango buds, however, are very relishable, and those in the devotional service of Radha and Krishna enjoy them. Thus, Ramananda Rai and Chaitanya Mahaprabhu talked for the entire night. They sometimes danced, sometimes sang, and sometimes cried. After they had passed the night in this way, at dawn, Ramananda Rai returned to his place. The next evening, he returned to see Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. After discussing Krishna for some time, Ramananda Rai fell at the feet of the Lord and said, "My dear Lord, you are so kind to me that you have taught me about the science of Krishna, the science of Radharani, and the science of their loving affairs, the science of their rasa dance, and the science of their pastimes. I never thought that I should be able to speak on these subject matters. You have taught me as you formerly taught the Vedas to Brahma. This is a system of receiving instructions from the super soul. Externally, he is not to be seen, but internally, he speaks to the devotee. That is confirmed in the Bhagavad Gita 10:10. The Lord dictates from within to anyone who is sincerely engaged in his service. And the Lord acts in such a way that such a person can ultimately attain the supreme goal of life. When Brahma was born, there was no one to instruct him. Therefore, the Supreme Lord himself instructed Brahma in the Vedic knowledge through Brahma's heart. In Srimad Bhagavatam 2.4.22, Shukdev Goswami confirms that the Gayatri Mantra was first imparted within the heart of Brahma by the Supreme Lord. Shukdev Goswami then prays to the Lord to similarly help him speak Srimad Bhagavatam before Maharaj Parikshit. The first verse of the first canto of Srimad Bhagavatam describes the Supreme Absolute Truth as who instructed Brahma through the heart. In that verse, Srila Vyasadeva, the author of Srimad Bhagavatam, states, "Let me offer my respectful obeisances to Sri Krishna, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, who is the cause of the cosmic manifestation and its maintenance and dissolution as well." If we scrutinizingly try to understand the Supreme Truth, we can understand that He knows everything directly and indirectly. He is the only Supreme Personality, and it is He only who is fully independent. He alone instructed Brahma as the super soul within. Even the greatest scholars become bewildered in trying to understand the Supreme Truth because the entire perceivable cosmic manifestation situated within him. This material manifestation, a product of fire, water, air, and earth, only appears to be factual. It is in him alone that the spiritual and material manifestations, as well as the living entities, rest. Therefore, he is the supreme truth. Ramananda Rai continued speaking to Lord Caitanya. First, I saw you as a sannyasi, and then I saw you as a cowherd boy. Now I see before you a golden doll, and due to its presence, your complexion has become golden. Due to its presence, your complexion has become golden. Yet I also see you as a dark complexioned cowherd boy. Will you kindly explain why I am seeing you in this way? Please tell me without reservation. It is the nature of the highly elevated devotees to see Krishna in everything. Lord Chaitanya replied, whenever they see anything, they do not see the form of that particular thing. They see Krishna. Whenever they see anything, they do not see the form of that particular thing, they see Krishna. This is confirmed in Srimad Bhagavatam 11.2.45. Sarva bhuteshu yaha pashyed bhagavad bhavanatmanah bhutani bhagvatya atmanya esha bhagavatottamaha. One who is highly elevated in devotional service sees the super soul, Krishna, who is the soul of all individual souls. A similar passage is found in the 10th canto, 10:35-9, where it is stated that when Krishna came before the creepers, the plants, and the trees of Vrindavan, who were laden with flowers and fruits, because he was the soul of their soul, they all bent down in ecstasy of love for him and became thorny. Because you have the highest conception of the pastimes of Radha and Krishna, Lord Chaitanya concluded, you are seeing Radha and Krishna everywhere. Ramananda Rai replied, Sir, I request you not to try to hide yourself. I understand that you have accepted the complexion and the mode of thinking of Srimati Radharani, and that you are trying to understand
Mode of
yourself.
thinking is correct. Mode of thinking is correct.
Okay. Mode of thinking of Srimati Radharani, and that you are trying to understand yourself from her viewpoint. You have adventured yourself to take this point of view, although you have incarnated mainly to understand your own self. You are at the same time distributing love of Krishna to the world. Now you have personally come here to deliver me. I request you not to try to deceive me. It is not good for you. Being very satisfied, Lord Chaitanya smiled and showed Ramananda Rai his real form as the combination of Sri Radha and Krishna Jai, a form that he had never before shown anyone else. Thus, Lord Chaitanya was Sri Krishna himself with the external features of Srimati Radharani. His transcendental ability to become two and then to become one again was revealed to Ramananda Rai. Those who are fortunate enough to understand Lord Chaitanya as well as the pastimes of Radha and Krishna and Vrindavan are able, by the mercy of Sri Rupa Goswami, to know the real identity of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu.
Sri Krishna Chaitanya Mahaprabhu.
Sorry, Sri Krishna Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Upon seeing the unique feature of Lord Chaitanya, Ramananda Rai fainted and fell to the floor. Lord Chaitanya then touched him and he came to his senses. Ramananda Rai was surprised to see Lord Chaitanya in his mendicant dress again. Lord Chaitanya embraced him and pacified him and said that Ramananda was the only one to have seen this form. Because you have understood the purpose of my incarnation, you are privileged to have seen this particular feature of my personality. The Lord said, "My dear Ramananda, I am not a different person with a fair complexion, a Gaur Purusha. I am the self-same Krishna, the son of Maharaj Nanda, and due to contact with the body of Srimati Radharani, I have now assumed this form. Srimati Radharani does not touch anyone but Krishna. Therefore, she has influenced me with her complexion, mind, and words. In this way, I'm just trying to understand the transcendental flavor of her relationship with Krishna. The fact is that both Krishna and Lord Chaitanya are the original personality of Godhead. Therefore, no one should try to separate Lord Chaitanya from Lord Sri Krishna. In his form of Sri Krishna, he is the supreme enjoyer. And in his form of Lord Chaitanya, he is the supreme enjoyed. No one can be more super excellently attractive than Sri Krishna, and no one but Sri Krishna can enjoy the supreme form of devotion, Srimati Radharani. All Vishnu forms but Sri Krishna lack this ability. In Chaitanya Charitamrita Adi Leela 4.82, it is said that Srimati Radharani is the only personality who can infuse Govinda with transcendental pleasure. Thus, Srimati Radharani is the chief of all damsels of Vraja who love Govinda, the supreme personality of Godhead, Sri Krishna. Please rest assured that I have nothing to hide from you, Lord Chaitanya told Ramananda. Even if I do try to hide something from you, you are such an advanced devotee that you can understand all my secrets. I request you to please keep them secret and do not disclose them to anyone. If they are revealed, everyone would consider me a madman. The facts I have disclosed to you cannot be understood by materialistic people. Were they to hear of them, they would simply laugh at me. But you can understand these secrets. Please keep them to yourself. From a materialistic point of view, a devotee in the ecstasy of love for Krishna is mad. But you and I are just like madmen. So please don't disclose these facts to ordinary men. If you do, they will surely laugh at me. Lord Chaitanya passed 10 nights with Ramananda Rai, enjoying his company by discussing the pastimes of Krishna and Radha. The discussions between them were on the highest level of love for Krishna. Some of these talks are described, but most of them could not be described. In the Chaitanya Charitamrita, their talks have been compared a metallurgic examination. The metals are studied in the following sequence: first copper, then bronze, then silver, then gold, and at last touchstone. The preliminary discussions between Lord Chaitanya and Ramananda Rai are considered to be like copper, and the highest discussions are considered to be like
higher.
and the higher discussions are considered to be like gold. The fifth and the highest dimension of their discussions, however, is considered to be like touchstone. If one is very eager to progress higher and higher to the position of the highest metallurgist, one must begin with an inquiry into the qualities of copper, then progress to bronze, then to silver, to gold, and so on. The next day, Lord Chaitanya asked Ramananda Rai to allow him to return to Jagannath Puri. For the rest of our lives, we can remain together at Jagannath Puri and pass our time in discussing Krishna. Lord Chaitanya then embraced Ramananda Rai and sent him to his own place. In the morning, the Lord prepared to start on his journey south. He had met Ramananda Rai on the river bank near the temple of Hanuman. After visiting that temple, he left. As long as Lord Chaitanya remained in Vidyanagar, all kinds of people met him, and by his grace, everyone became a devotee of the Supreme Lord. After Lord Chaitanya's departure, Ramananda Rai became overwhelmed due to his separation from the Lord and he immediately decided to retire from service so he could meet the Lord again at Jagannath Puri. The discussions between Ramananda Rai and Lord Chaitanya deal with the most concentrated form of devotional service. By hearing these discussions, one can understand the pastimes of Sri Radha and Krishna, as well as the confidential role played by Lord Chaitanya. One who is fortunate enough to have faith in these discussions can enter into the transcendental association of Radha and Krishna. Hari Hari Bol.
So the last two sentences are very important for us. We did not understand what the discussions were, but hearing these discussions, I mean, I'm not talking about current discussions, that we understood something, but the earlier discussions about Radha Krishna pastimes. So by hearing these discussions, one can understand the pastimes of Radha and Krishna, just by hearing, as well as the confidential role played by Lord Chaitanya. One is fortunate enough to have faith in these discussions. That means we just have to have faith that these are true, can enter into the transcendental association of Radha and Krishna. So we have ended teachings of Lord Chaitanya. Any thoughts, questions?
So, I have two questions.
Yes.
One question where in the above paragraphs, Ramananda Rai said that one who wants to merge, they become trees. We read.
Is that exactly what is said there? Can you just...
Yeah. There are two. He said, what is the destination? Chaitanya Mahaprabhu asked Ramananda Rai, what is the destination of those who wants to, monist and for the materialist. Then for the karmis who worship demigods, they could go to the higher planets, and those who are monist, they want to, they become trees. It is written twice in the previous paragraphs.
Can go to the exact sentence, yeah.
Okay. Mataji, can you search as trees?
Yeah, there it is. There it is.
Yeah.
I don't know where the reference is coming from there for this. I need to check it.
Okay. There was another question I forgot.
Oh, he's talking about the non-liberated.
Yeah, the impersonalist who worship Brahma Jyoti. It's written here also. For example, the impersonalists worship the Brahma Jyoti, by which such worship one becomes bereft of life symptoms and becomes just like a tree or other non-moving living entity.
Yeah, I think that once you attain liberation, then you merge into Brahma Jyoti. But if you don't, I guess that's what is being referred. I need to check that.
It's like the shloka in Bhagavatam, Patanti Adha Yasmad Yusmach. So again, when they fall down, they become trees. Is it like that?
No, I don't know if this refers to they become tree after merging into Brahma Jyoti. We'll have to see. That's why I said I need to check
Okay.
where it's coming from.
Okay, yeah. And another question was that I was listening to Guru Maharaj's class. I think it was yesterday's or day before yesterday's. So there were three things: the matter, non-material, or material thing came up. I think you were also there in the class. Radharaman Prabhu was saying, I'm speculating. Then Guru Maharaj said, no speculation. So I didn't understand the context of that.
I was not there in the class. I was not there in the class. So if you send me a clip or something, then I can...
Yeah, I will send you. So that was a new thing. So I thought of asking.
Any other thoughts, reflections, questions? I think
Prabhuji,
yeah.
Prabhuji, I feel like I don't know, do I understand or I don't understand, but I enjoy reading. I feel like it's reading like I don't know how much little, you know, a small faith I have, but reading the pastimes and reading CC, I feel bliss. Sometimes, I when I'm so much pain or something, my mind is not working. I get a call from a friend and we start reading. So it's like so beautiful. And today also when I'm reading, it's like enjoying instead of giving enjoy to Krishna. So like just like these chapters, I don't know, but that book has been finished. So it's like getting pleasure somewhere like this. Just wanted to
So,
share.
so you're like the cuckoo who's finding pleasure in the mango buds. At least it's confirmation that you're not eating the bitter nimba fruit.
No, no.
Good.
Hare Krishna,
That,
Hare Krishna,
that's what our
Guruji.
life is meant to be. We're constantly meant to hear and relish. Shrinuvanti, Gayanti, Grinanti, Sadhavaha. That's what we're supposed to be doing 24 hours.
And one more thing that
Uh,
when
I think,
when we have discussion,
okay, go ahead.
there's one thing that when Tushanti cha Ramanti cha, when the past Lord pastime are discussed with in the association of devotees, it gives pleasure. So just this. Thank you.
Radhakishori Mataji?
Yes, Guruji, I was just saying that are we supposed to look for happiness? I mean, is searching for Krishna's love contradictory to searching for happiness?
No, it's searching for Krishna's love is the actual search. That's the actual search. It's not contradictory. When you say searching for Krishna's love, it should be in the context of uh, uh, searching for the object of love rather than searching for the recipient of love. If you just slightly change it to searching for the object of love, then all is well.
Could you just elaborate this? Because we tend to depend on things that give us happiness. So we are actually looking for our happiness, not really trying to give pleasure to Krishna or really looking for Krishna prema.
No, it's not. See, that is because of that is because of ignorance. No, we don't. For example, um, let me put it like that. Let me just give you a simple example. Take, for example, young people, okay? What are they trying to do? They're trying to find an object of love in the opposite sex, no? They're trying to find an object of love, right?
Mhm, mhm,
They're trying to repose their love in someone, correct?
mhm,
Although they may want to get something in return, that's a different thing. But
mhm,
what are they trying to do? They're trying to repose their love in someone. That is what Prabhupada also speaks about, no? That we're always trying to repose our love.
mhm,
And by reposing our love, we are expecting some reciprocation. That is what it is. That's what we're trying to do because that's our nature. We
mhm,
always try to repose our love in somebody and uh, try to uh, uh, try to receive some reciprocation for that, for reposing that love.
mhm,
So if the tendency to repose love in different people, if we just change it to tendency to repose love in Krishna, then that is fine, perfectly fine.
mhm,
So naturally, Krishna will reciprocate. Because we don't think of Krishna as a person who, like, for example, if we say, okay, I have to repose love in my husband or in my son or my wife or father or mother, They're all tangible people in front of you, right? Therefore, the concept of reposing love comes naturally or easily to mind.
Mhm.
But because Krishna is not a tangible person for us due to our conditioning,
Mhm.
therefore we don't think in those terms.
Mhm.
You know, because when we can't when there is when there is a tangible person in front of you, then you think less about yourself. You're also conscious of the other person's needs and his personality and all those things,
Mhm.
right?
Mhm. Yeah.
Yeah, so that is what is happening. So by coming to the platform of by reading Srila Prabhupada's books, that's why Prabhupada said, if you don't even know who Krishna is, how can you love him?
Mhm.
So by the process of hearing and chanting about him, then we develop the quality of remembering him, and he becomes a tangible reality. Then we want to repose our love in him. So if we short circuit that by not short circuit, I don't want to use the word short circuit. Okay. If we short circuit that with the desire, if we just ignore that whole thing and think that there is a God who needs to do something for us, that's a mundane conception of God. No, we need
Mhm.
to understand what is God's personality. What is his what does he like? What does he dislike? We need to understand God as a person and repose our love in that. When we understand God is the most lovable person, then naturally we're able to repose our love in God. And when we repose our love in God, then God naturally reciprocates. So replace the search for happiness with the search for the one who is worthy of reposing our love.
As you said, Krishna will reciprocate. So, I mean, when there's too much suffering, it's difficult to see Krishna's reciprocation, although Krishna may be doing all this for our good. Um, so, seeing the reciprocation is also difficult.
That's because you're not at how do you say no, I'm not saying you generally. Uh, that's because we have not yet realized Krishna is a tangible person, just like every other person.
Mhm. Mhm.
There are
Okay.
some things which people do out of love. And there's no other way than to do it out of love. For
Mhm.
example, when you're sick, your mother will give you very bitter medicine.
Mhm.
And I've seen sometimes mothers, what they do when the babies don't take medicine, they hold their nose and blow on their face. And then the babies open their mouths, and the medicine instantly is popped into the mouth.
Mhm.
Bitter
Mhm.
medicine, bitter
Yes.
medicine. The child is crying. All that looks very difficult to handle.
Mhm.
But we who are seeing the mother from externally know that mother is doing this out of love.
Yeah.
So, like that, unless we establish a relationship with Krishna, we cannot understand or appreciate his actions.
Mhm.
We need to understand his position properly. Like, for example, if you understand the position of mother properly, then you'll know that all the mothers are, I'm not saying every mother is perfect. I'm just saying in general, no,
Yeah.
that mother's actions are generally beneficial for the children, no,
Mhm.
like that. So unless we understand the position of mother, how can we even appreciate what she does? That's why Prabhupada repeatedly stressed that if we do not know Krishna, how can you love him? How can you love someone whom we don't know?
Yes, that's right.
So once we begin to know Krishna,
Mhm.
then we begin to understand his actions. Then we begin to accept all his actions in our lives.
Yes. Yes, Suji. Yes, Suji. Thank you so much.